Okay, got it.
Got it.
The meeting is now streaming live on Facebook. Okay. So, hi, you look really pretty.
Thank you. Likewise.
Okay,
Good
now
morning,
I
Facebook.
have to address this for my women. I have no desire to be like this. And if you are, that's fine. People can do that. I actually love looking aging gracefully, but you and I were just talking before we went live that I smoked from the time I was 12. I was in grade 7, and I mean smoke, like I smoked a lot until 2012. So let's call it 35 years, 30 something years. So I had smoker lines, like really bad smoker lines. And so yesterday I went and had filler just in the smoker lines. Cause you know, as we age, ladies, if you're younger than this, take care of your skin, just so you know, because your skin is just going to lose its elasticity. It's going to start doing this. And you can't really do anything about that if you wait till too late. So take care of it. Anyway, she bruised me. She bruised me, and I'm allergic to lidocaine. So my lips get really swollen. I promise this time next week, I won't be here. I'll be in Europe. But next time you see me, you won't even notice a difference, and lips will look totally normal. Just no smoker lines.
A little bruise.
No little bruise.
We have to suffer for beauty, right? It's okay. Okay.
I'm happy. You know what? It's funny. It's like people don't want to talk about getting anything done. I'm like, why?
Why?
You know, why?
Thank God for modern medicine. Thank God.
And yeah, and if you don't want to get anything done, that's cool too, right? It's totally cool.
Absolutely.
So
I say give it to me. Give me the Botox, give me the fillers, sign me up. You
know what? My family genes, we don't age well, just so you know.
Same. I mean,
really?
I'm so pale, and I am a sun worshiper. So slathering baby oil in my teenage years and turning myself into a crisp piece of bacon, super good decision making.
With the boom box, baby oil, lemon in your hair, sun in.
The sun in. If you had money, sun in, or lemon if you didn't.
And peroxide, because I didn't have money either growing up, right? That's why, yeah. Anyway, hi Rebecca, everybody. This is Rebecca, everybody.
Good morning, everybody.
Let's start out with some easy questions. I'm actually really excited to get to you, and thank you for spending time with me this morning, because I love your story, just so you know. And yes, you have a story. It's pretty friggin' cool. Okay, tell everybody where you're from. Where are you?
So I was born and raised in Oregon. Moved to Washington and then spent 11 years in Mexico, and I'm currently back in Oregon. I live in a little tiny town called Brownsville, which, if you're familiar at all with Oregon, is the west side of the state between Springfield and Albany.
Okay, awesome, yeah. Awesome. Introvert or extrovert?
Gosh, if I had to pick, I would say extrovert.
You have to pick.
Yeah, I would pick extrovert. However, there can be definite times when I just want an alone cone, where I just want solitude and silence. But I would say extrovert. I tend toward festive rather than quiet.
You do?
Yeah.
So ladies, the way that I know Rebecca, I met her in Mexico a long time ago, and we're all that stuff, but I have to ask you a question, because Rebecca's in a mindset mentor mastermind group that I facilitate. Just say the word, don't describe it. Remember the words we were talking about last week?
Oh God.
When we were describing, okay, tell me later. I can't remember the word we were talking about when we were describing that part of the anatomy. I'm just saying.
Oh.
Tell me next week. Just write it down and tell me today in our call.
Okay.
Tell me today in our call, because I just think it's the funniest thing, and I want to share it with a bunch of women. Maybe it's not appropriate here on a live.
Definitely not
okay, are you a night owl or an early bird? Look how I pivoted that one.
You know what, Sam, I'm both. And I know you want me to pick, but I love early mornings. I love
Yes,
before the world wakes up or when I hear the first birds chirping. Um,
yes,
in the summertime, I would say, right? Um,
yeah.
but also
I'm
sometimes
gonna blur.
nighttime is when I can have that solitude if I want it. But again, if I had to pick, I would say early bird.
Okay, see, the thing is yes, you have to pick. In real
Yeah,
life, it's a yes and. That's
yeah,
one of my favorite things, yes and. But
yeah. Then
for
early bird, I would say early bird.
for my purpose is that I wonder about people relating to us, like my personality, people would probably think, oh, she's an extrovert and oh, she's super, she's probably, I used to be a partier, so I'd be up late, blah, blah, blah. I crawled upstairs at 8:15 last night and watched Chopped. You know what I mean? And I am like trying to keep my eyes open.
No, for sure. Yeah, I mean,
Trying.
I definitely go to my room usually around 7 or 8, unless I have plans, out of the house. But if I'm home, I'm
You go out of
definitely
the house after 8?
here
Okay.
and there.
Tell me some mental wellness things that you do, like books or people or actions or whatever. Tell me some of that
Yes.
stuff that keeps you
Same.
out of your head or happy. Huh?
I would say the first thing that's so important to me is having a like-minded community. So the mastermind that you mentioned is, I mean, I hate it the weeks that we don't meet because I crave that. For many years, as you know, I did work in personal development. And so in a way, I lived in a rose tinted world because
Yeah.
everybody around me was of that same mindset. And then out in the real world, that's not the case. Now we can build our communities so that that's the case, but we're not impervious to all the onslaught of negativity and what we have called common hour thinking. So community is huge. I ache and yearn for more of that.
I love that you shared that
Mhm.
because for many of these women in this community, they've never experienced it before. Okay, so there's two things I'm finding here as I build this community. We just started in February, this one that we're talking in right now. We started it in February. We already have 400 this morning, 414 members. But it's not just anybody that can join. Like you need to answer the questions because I have Jen, who's an amazing assistant of mine, who's out searching, the social world for women to invite to this community. There are many, 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 many groups that are all about come to my group so I can sell the shit out of you.
Mhm.
That's not what this is. This is truly how do we come together in a safe place to lift each other up when we're virtual. I don't know about, everybody out there, but I've talked to people in Nebraska, in Dakota, in a small little town, Brownsville, Oregon. I'm in Cabo. And so where do we get to go meet without getting on a plane or, blah, blah. Thank you. I
Yeah.
created this because I also have it outside. I've hired a coach and I'm in
Mhm.
her special community called
Mhm.
Legacy Leaders, right? I went and joined E-Women's. By the way, I'm unjoining E-Women's because their virtual community is not serving for me. It's just for me. E-Women's in person is the bomb. So if anybody wants to, you should go do that because it is an extraordinary community, network.
Sure.
Anyway, sorry. Go ahead.
No, I
I
think
digress.
I think that is such a critical thing, and I had no idea the power behind that. You don't know what you don't know. You struggle through your 20s, you struggle even I'd say through your 30s, sometimes 40s, whatever, wherever you are. I didn't know the power in badass women coming together who truly have your best interest and
Yes.
understand that there is no lack of resources, and that in fact the more they put into you, the more they themselves are going to get back. And that is a special kind of woman. It makes me sad to say, but not every, I'll say women because we're in a women's group, is like that. And it's so sad to me because she's, that woman who doesn't know that, who doesn't build other women up is just, gosh, I mean, she's just beating her own self and doesn't even know it.
The one that's always in competition with others.
Yes. Yeah.
Being this is a great thing I'll share about this too, is it's okay to be in competition. I was very athletic as a child, yada, yada, yada. It's okay to be in competition. I was in sales. I was in leaders.
Right.
I want to win. Not at any cost. That's never been part of my program. But two, be in competition with yourself.
Absolutely.
Be better, and whatever better looks like, than you were last year, last week, last month. That's really the secret to going. We're not in competition with each other. Like any chain, you're only as strong as your weakest link.
Yeah. And I would say even women in my industry, even in my case, I don't have a direct competitor from my, what I do in my town, but even if I did, there is no lack of resources. There is simply no lack of resources.
Just a lack of distribution.
Lack of distribution and a lack of awareness.
And knowledge and self-knowledge and belief, yes. Right? I heard it recently. I'm doing some online courses because I always commit to my clients. I will continue to get better. And in my old brain, I can't always retain everything that I've learned. So sometimes I need I forgot that. That's so good. I'm going to apply that because I'm different in life now. And I heard it Monday morning in one of the courses I'm taking online. And it said, all boats rise in the high tide. I think I write that in my book. It's true. It's true. Just like bring the energy, brings the tide in, keep the energy high. Every boat's going to rise.
Absolutely.
I love that. Okay, since we already started talking about your business, I'm so impressed with you, and I want you to receive that you totally shifted gears in your 40s. You're still in your 40s, but tell the ladies about that.
I did.
What happened? What happened? Like, where were you? As in, not where you worked or whatever, but where were you? And what made the shift? And where are you now?
So my whole life, my whole background in one way or another is in sales. And truly in my 20s, as teens and 20s, I was miserable and I felt so stuck. I worked in retail and I truly believed, like it was in stone, in blood, that I was stuck. I had no other skill set. My skill set was not transferable.
That makes me sad.
It was not great. And in my early
you didn't have anybody around you to lift you up and say,
I had no idea that I had no idea. But something inside of me, I took a vacation. I'm really going to try to keep this Cliff's Notes. And I saw people living in poverty. And I looked at my life on paper, and it was amazing on paper, and I was miserable. And here are these people in poverty, happy. And it was this moment, I don't know how I'm going to do it. I don't know what I'm going to do. And I hit detonate on my life, really blew it up. That's when I moved to Mexico, found myself with a mentor and really starting to learn and change. And honestly, I was resistant to it. He kept offering me books. One of the books he gave me was The Secret, and I thought it was the most ridiculous thing I'd ever read. And I'm not.
I would just like to tell you something. Do you know that I introduced that book to that person's boss? We're going to leave names out of it. Back in 2004, 5, whenever it came out, I totally introduced that book.
That's
I just
funny.
want you to know.
Well, I'm not a fan of that particular book or that particular movie, and I believe in the laws of the universe.
Yep. But what a great introduction it was back then, because so many people didn't have any idea of the laws.
Right. And what I love is that he just kept offering me things, not pushing it on me. So what happened during that time is really I learned that there is no limit. I can do what I want to do. I can live a life that I love. And I switched, I stayed in sales, and back in 2016, I found myself in a situation for the first time in my life, I'll say an emotionally abusive situation with a boss, to the point that it made me sick. And so I found myself in the situation of, I got to hit detonate again. And I was terrified, but I did it. I hit detonate, and I took some time off, and I had come back to the States just to help family with a couple things. And I was headed back to Mexico, and my nieces really begged me to stay here and said, please don't go, we need you. And I'm like, well, girls, I'm not independently wealthy just yet, so I need it. And I had always had an interest. Don't ask me why, because if you all know me, I am not insurance of all the things. I am airy-fairy. I am in so many ways a gong show, and insurance is so like regimented. But first, I don't know, I just had this interest in it. And so I got licensed in insurance, and I have my securities license to do investments. And I had this, and I'll say it was an amazing job. It was just this amazing segue for me to build a new skill set, and learn. Oh my gosh, when they interviewed me, they told me that it takes a good 2 years to learn the job. And I'm thinking in my head, what kind of morons are you hiring that it takes 2 years? Well, guess what? Moron. Because, whoa, I mean, it is a rabbit hole that, on the surface, insurance is so boring. And I know that, right? Only it's like salespeople. We love to talk about what we do. Well, nobody else is interested in insurance except for me and my colleagues. But what I found in it is part of what I love is serving other people. And so insurance, I think, is looked upon as kind of a gross industry. There's a lot of shysters out there, and
there's a lot of shysters.
There's a lot, and it's such a bummer because, like it or not, we need to look at the things in our life that we cannot afford to replace. And some of it, of course, is legally defined. You have to have car insurance, but that job took me down a road where I got a phone call out of the blue from State Farm. And they wanted to interview me to own an agency. And my ears kind of perked up, and I thought, how in the name of all that is holy are these people calling me? I am not qualified for this at all. I don't even know if. And so I was interested, but I think the timing was just not great. This was mid-COVID, early COVID, in fact. And about 5 months later, I thought, one day I said to my significant other, I think I'm going to reach out to that person and just see, maybe it's time. And that very same day, I got a text message. Hey, this particular agency is up they need a new owner. And so it was this crazy.
Same day.
5 hours later. 5 hours later.
Universe. Isn't that great?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it was a crazy process. I came into it late in the game. Typically, if you're going to be an agency owner, typically it's a 3 to 6 month process. You have to write a business plan. You have to go through multiple interviews. You have to take personality tests. You have to be licensed in property and casualty and life and health.
It's a lot.
It's a lot.
You're just so you know, you're like,
right. And in my case, I had 2 weeks to go through these interviews, take these tests, write a business plan, get property and casualty licensed, and all the time I was working full time. So long story short, I am now an owner of a State Farm agency. I am the boss of my own self. And here's why I love this, because had somebody ever told me this when I was 25 or even 30, in a million billion years, this was never a reality for me.
Go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, it's okay. If there's one thing, one message that I can get out to anybody today, it's that there's not one magic switch to get you from point A to point B, but there is a magic switch in your mind that you have to know. Take the steps that you can take. Just do it. Do one thing. Do anything to change your situation. The most important thing, know it. The second step I would say is get a community. Mm-hmm. And you'll figure the rest out, because I sit here today, a business owner and a successful business owner.
That was the word I wanted you to add right there, a successful business owner. Yeah. This is what inspired me to read. Oops, sorry, I dropped my ear thing. Apparently I'm using these things opposed to my 99-cent ones, which I quite like my 99-cent ones better, just so you know. Anyway, is that you're just not a business owner, because I talk to struggling business owners all the time, right? Yep. And I'm going to tell, and you know this, their struggle is because of how they think, because thoughts become things, and it's an energy, and yada, 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 you know, careful what you look for, you just might find it. Sure. You know, it was no accident that you said to your significant other, hey, I think I'm going to reach out for that today. That was a strong broadcast. Boom. They're like, hello.
Yeah. Pretty crazy.
It's so crazy. And so we leave the how out of it, which women in business, I know you're kind of like, what do you mean leave the how out of it? How am I going to build my business? How am I going to move forward? Leave the how out of it. Mm-hmm. It's what. It's always what. And I'm going to go back to you as the teen in the 20s, as in, I thought this was it. Mm-hmm. Well, I was capable of. You know what I mean? It's not like you went for your master's in your 30s. You worked. Mm-hmm. You worked a lot, and you were mentored a lot on your thinking.
On my thinking. Yes.
It's not that and yes, you went and studied and got your skills and everything for the insurance. I'm not negating that, you know, it's like, we do study. I study. We all study to up level, right? But I think the reason we all do this is just so that we can have a broader understanding, so we can serve more people.
For sure. And I want to say too, yes, I studied. Yes, I got licensed. Yes, I got my securities license. But that is, from where I sit, that's second, even though it was a mandatory, you know, by law, I had to do that. That mm-hmm. was second to the personal studies and the personal growth, because you can be book smart, but what the heck do you do with it if you're, you know, in your head and think that you can't do anything? What good is that going to do? So first and foremost, I would say invest in yourself.
Yeah. Invest in yourself. You know, the group that you and I are in, not everybody can get in. You can, but there's some steps to get to it. You even recommended somebody, I go, they got to work with me one-on-one first. It's one of the things that, in other words, I have to know that you've learned how to think properly. Sure. You know, and recognize that are available for you, that you can pull from in here, right? So, but there are lots of yummy groups. This is one of them. And so, you know, it's a little shameless plug for this group, but the idea behind this is I've shared with you, post anonymously if you're nervous of asking a personal question. You and I, we're transparent as hell. You know, it's like, I don't care. I'm sitting there with a bruise on my lip telling you what I did. I don't care. And not everybody feels that way. You know, they're more, what do people think? Hard. They're going to think I'm not good enough, and, you know, mm-hmm. I'm not smart enough, and blah, blah, blah. Go ahead and post in the group anonymous if you have a question, if you need to reach out. What you're going to find, a whole bunch of yummy women are going, me too. Thanks for being courageous.
Right? Yeah, there's this thing. And I think women in particular, I mean, I was painfully self-conscious of I'll say just my lack of being good enough, being smart enough, being capable enough, like painfully subconscious. I could feel it on a physical level, you know, back in my days of Sales, I would go far away so nobody could hear me talking about my client, because God forbid, I was so mortified. And I look back and I think, oh my gosh, what a waste of time and energy. But again, it's a process. It's not magic. It's a process really that starts with learning to love yourself and recognizing I am this unique soul in the world and I don't need to be perfect, but I can make a difference today.
Can you speak more to this unique soul in the world? Because I think we hear it all the time, Rebecca. It's like, you have these unique gifts and you were born, for your unique gift. There's no one like you, blah, 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 which, by the way, I 100% agree with. I believe this is true. Like, for instance, in my coaching, I didn't invent this shit. I'm not telling people really that different. It's how I authentically deliver it and my intuition and listening to source, because I get a lot of friggin' insight by listening. I'm tuned in to say, boom, this is what's going on. What do you like? That's one of my unique gifts that was given to me, right?
For
if
sure.
I don't show up, if I did what my dad, rest in peace, bless his heart, he helped me get a job at the DM. He helped me get a job when I was 16. Bless my dad's heart for helping me. At Nordstrom's Rack. I hated retail anyway. Tried to get me a job at a bank because could you imagine if I stayed in those roles? They were not for me. They were not utilizing my unique gifts. Shitty childhood has brought me to a place where I got to use all those friggin' great tools.
Right.
So that's why we're unique. I don't care if somebody had the best childhood ever. Trust me, go back to Onion, sister. I'm going to guess that there was some stuff that wasn't so beautiful that you need to turn on to make you your greatest self.
Yes.
Go ahead.
And Sam,
Sorry.
you and I have different, but similar, not an amazing childhood, lots of trauma, lots of abuse, lots of excuses to just kind of suck in life, like,
right?
Oh yeah, like the blame game. Are you kidding me? None of it's my fault.
It's happened to me.
Right. And the unique thing is about each person is, all the good stuff that happens to us, all the bad stuff, it does create this imprint on our soul.
Mm-hmm.
And what's really great is we get to choose what to do with it. But first you have to know that you can decide. And what's really great is it does mean that we each take a unique path. We each have this unique soul in the world. And when you really listen to that, it's your intuition. We talk about it. Everybody knows that it's never wrong, but so many times we ignore it anyway. Stop ignoring it. And there is somebody that's going to give you a chance. Just don't stop looking. Don't stop asking for help. And learn what you're really good at. What makes you glow from the inside out. One of the unique things, and maybe it's not unique, but in my mind it is people feel really comfortable spilling their souls to me. I'm a safe place. I'm a soft place to land. I'm never going to judge you. I'm never going to betray your secrets or betray your trust. And I pride myself on that. I love, that's something I have learned to really love and honor about myself. Because it makes me feel like I am of value to other people. And when we recognize our value to other people, I think humans are like pack animals, right? we need our pack.
They are. Well, that's why they say solitary confinement is a punishment.
Yeah.
We're not meant to do this thing alone.
Right.
And superpowers is one of my superpowers, which is holding a safe place. That's something I saw that, my coach says to me, you can't see your own eyebrows. So she sees enough, and she has no benefit in lying to me.
Right.
There's no benefit in that. And so what she is like, I'm grateful because, we know thousands of people. We've met thousands of people over our life, blah, 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 blah. As she said, Sam, you hold space for people without judgment like no one I've ever met. You know, and I mentioned last week, it might be because I have 2 trans kids, you know, you don't have a choice. I need to love you where you are and be your soft place to land.
Right.
Because that's my commitment in the world. And maybe that is one of my superpowers or one of my special gifts or one of my unique qualities that
and I think it stems from empathy. For me, I think it, you know, I was judged so much, or maybe I wasn't, but I felt like I was. Yeah. I mean,
we all were.
Sure.
Products of the 80s. Come on, now.
Yeah. So, and that was painful, right? You know, it was so hurtful to feel judged and rejected, and you know, all of those things that probably most of us go through, certainly as teenagers.
Yeah. Yes, we're not alone.
Oh, and here's the thing, I was that girl, right? I wore the cheerleading uniform. I had friends, you know, and yet still it's one of those things. What's going on outside of me did not reflect what was going on inside of me at that time of my life, you know?
Most people. And I say that as I have the luxury of talking one-on-one, you know, with women in sessions, and I have 1 man left in my practice, but, and we all tend to think it's just us. And I laugh because it's like, oh my God, I was in a session 2 hours ago. We had this exact conversation. Oh my God. I act shocked. I'm not shocked. I don't know why I act shocked. I think I'm just celebrating the synchronicity of we have way more in common than as in a community of women.
For sure.
I'm jumping around, which I always do. Follow along, follow the bouncing ball. Here comes Sam. I kind of want to go back to something that's standing out for me. This is the that is.
Well, Sam, you're breaking up a little bit. You're a little quiet.
How about now?
How about now? It's good.
Okay. The I'm not enoughness story.
Oh,
that is a common theme. And you know what, ladies? Yes, I find it to be super common in you know. I'm also going to tell you that it's in men too. So the men in your life that are overreacting or over blah blah blahing, I have it too. Just so you know, because it's only been this last year that I've shifted gears and only coaching women. I would like you to go with that slogan of why not you? Why not me? Please write that down. Say, why not? How come Rebecca in her 40s can pivot and go from sales and a retail and sales back? Now she owns by the word, State Farm insurance branch, right? Business.
Yeah.
Why, you know, how is Sam living her best life in Cabo San Lucas, you know, raising her kids who are going off to university and, you know, doing well as a coach when I dropped out of school in 10th grade, 11th grade officially, but I dropped out twice.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
It's not that. It's decide, my favorite word. You know that from me, from all the years of us, you know, talking to each other. My favorite word is decide. Decide, don't try. Decide.
Yeah, decide.
Why not you?
Decisive action, I think, is decisive action. Take decisive action and stop focusing on I'm not pretty enough, I'm not smart enough, I'm not educated enough, I don't have enough money. That is all such lack, and all you have to do is decide and then take one tiny step and then another and another.
Right.
And here we are, right? And I'm not done taking steps. I mean, don't think that suddenly I have this magic wand where, you know, I think I'm the prettiest and the smartest and
you are pretty.
It is ongoing work.
Oh, that's the thing. That's the thing is that we, you know, you can sit back a little bit. It's like Buddha says, I'm awake. I am awake.
Yeah.
Sometimes drowsy, right?
Yeah, and this stuff still comes up for me, you know, and sometimes more often than not, you know, the insecurities, the what the hell am I doing? I don't know how to do this. I had a meeting with 2 other agents yesterday and I felt like a kindergartner. I'm asking, like, in my mind, I'm like, God, I feel like such an idiot. These are basic things. And it came up for me. Well, if I had an MBA, I would know this. I'm asking things about taxes and payroll, and I've been at this a year and a half. I've been a business owner, and then I have to remind myself, I don't need to be the expert at everything. Guess what? I have a CPA. She's the expert in that. I don't need to be. Now, I want a basic understanding of what's going on in
I don't
that,
even want that. I'm just kidding. Yes, I do.
but I don't need to be a CPA. I don't
Let the CPA be in their genius, and they get to be smart, and they love telling you.
Yes.
They love telling you. I mean, that's the thing, is people love to share if you have the right people around you.
Yeah, but my point is, it came up for me yesterday. I'm sitting with these other two agents who are successful, and I'm thinking, in my mind, they're, well, they know this and I don't, and I feel stupid, and then I'm like, I left that meeting and I'm like, Rebecca, like, calm down. It's okay. If you don't know, then ask.
Right.
That's
I
it.
love you for that. Guess what? My client just checked into the waiting room. So this is what I need you to do right now. How fun? See how fun was it?
Super fun.
It's super fun.
Super fun.
I really, really, really need you to go into this video on Facebook, because I'm not going to see it for half an hour.
Okay.
And put all your contacts, your business contact, like, so people, if they have questions about, oh my gosh, how did, or they have questions of, hey, I really need insurance and I like you a lot. Right?
Yeah, I'm so, gosh, I hope that people need help from me, because I need to feel needed too, right?
We're a community of givers.
So I hope, that there's something I can do for someone, and I'll put all my contact info, and whether it's insurance or anything, just
right.
Yeah.
Thanks, sister. Let you see you at noon for our MMM call.
Yes, see you then. Bye,
Bye,
everybody.
honey.